Good morning, traders. I am, let's see, what is it? It's 0804 Central Time, 9th of March, 9th of April, 2021. It's 2104 here in Southeast Asia. Now, it seems like I've got some weird things going on. Sure why that is, but I don't seem to hear myself here. Sure what's up with that. Seem to be able to scroll out and do it. That's kind of disappointing, but we'll see what happens here. Hopefully you can hear me. Some interesting risk-off trading here this afternoon. One hell of a short on the ES NQ. Irritated that I'm seeing my mouse lag so badly ahead of the open. Took a little quick trade just to make sure everything was okay for, just to break even. And I wish I'd have just stayed in it because it was right here. And I should have just stayed short and trying to figure out a way to do the proper entry and exit around this. And I can't understand why I can't scroll down on that now. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out a good way to trade these Renko bars. Looks like we're going to come down now. We're breaking out of the ES over here. Looks like we're going to come down and probably double tap this low. We'll see. Inventory is obviously way short. That change here is 91 points for the short side and 13,747, which is clear up here. Settlement. So they didn't like something this morning, and they're testing the lows again. Looks like they're going to break them. But it's a little too close to the open for me to try another trade here. And it is Friday. And you must remember that previous results are not indicative or previous, I don't know what it is, not indicative of future results, whatever it is. And futures trading and derivatives can be not for everybody. You can lose more money than you put in. I'm not giving any trade advice, nor am I licensed to do so. This is my trading journal. And I hope that my thinking out loud as I trade can be helpful to someone else and help them achieve, which is the same goal that I have, which is consistent profitability. And the most important thing you need to remember is trade for tomorrow. If you're not around to trade tomorrow, doesn't matter what you studied, doesn't matter how many courses you took, doesn't matter any of that stuff. What matters is if you are able to trade tomorrow, or in our case, next week, then you are on the road to success. You have to give yourself as many samples of the trades as you can in the data set so that your edge can manifest itself and you can achieve consistent profitability. You can have the best edge in the world, and if you blow up in 2 trades, what the hell good is it? Nothing, right? Not anything. So, I'll be a short trade tonight. I have to get up at 4:30 in the morning, so got a guy leaving our company, and the festivities around his leaving is tomorrow morning at 5 Houston time, so that's o'clock in my morning. And my Saturday morning at that. Well, we got a double bottom here. Let's see what we got on the daily. Well, interesting. We have traded up. We went through this resistance with very little struggle, a little bit of a down day here, and then boom, off we went with an impulsive move up, just as we had on the way down. Then they traded up again, and for some reason today they're bringing it back down here in the Globex. So keep our eyes open. ES sold off pretty good. That brought the NASDAQ down. Pretty much risk off, as I said. My TopStep dashboard is as indicated here. There's that stupid mistake of last week. We can trade 5 contracts now because we're over the 52,100 mark, 52,000, I think it's $1 or something like that mark. You can see where my curve dropped off for the 2 losers, and we've been back on the right track ever since. The goal is 53,000, and we're into the pro account or funding, whichever. That's that. Economic calendar is right there. We had the core PPI and all those numbers out, and they're basically good. Now, whether this is one of those sell the rumor and buy the news kind of deals, however that goes. I always thought it was the other way around. I always thought it was sell the rumor and buy the news. Maybe not. Anyway, something happened there. It could have been that. Something happened, and we had a hell of a big 90-point plus drop. Now we're on about 50 points down from when I first did my little trade entry there. We got some wholesale inventories coming up, 48 minutes, and IMF meetings. And that's it for the economic calendar today. You want to be real conscious of your emotional capital. Nothing worse than having a big loss and then sitting and thinking about it all weekend. That'll drain your emotional capital, and that's as, if not more important than your risk capital. Risk capital being money that you invest or you use to trade that will have no impact on your family, your life, anything else if you lose it all. That's money you can risk without any problems. That's why I trade TopStep. I have very little money in the combine, and once I'm traded, I have no money in it. They have it all, and it's 80-20 split. I get 80, they get 20. You can't ask for a much better deal than that. I don't believe. There's no problems with withdrawals. There's no problems with any of that stuff. So they've been around for over 10 years. American company, based out of Chicago. Pretty transparent. Everybody pretty much knows who they are and what they do. And there's been, after all these years, if there was something, bad, a rotten apple in the basket, so to speak, it would have surely come to the surface and everybody would know about it. And it has not. They've dished out a lot of money, and there's no problem with making withdrawals or any of that stuff. So that's why I tend to lean towards the TopStep. I hear some crazy things from some of the other funding companies like Lilu and OneUp, and there's lots of competitors out there, but they have all. One of the craziest things I ever heard was the trailing drawdown is predicated on the maximum possible run-up. So, for example, if you, where's a good example? Here we go. If you got long here and it ran up, ran back down to here, and you took it out for 5 points or, $100, they would charge your daily loss limit with the difference of the run-up. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard of. You're getting penalized for money that you didn't earn or couldn't, whatever. I mean, that's like, I find that really strange. So that would put me off. Also, you have to wait several months or something before you can make a withdrawal. There's just a lot of, all these places have, I'm sure their rules make sense to them, but they certainly don't make sense to me. So I, therefore, feel that I will stick with TopStep or my own account, and as far as funding goes. So there we are. That's my little spiel about that. So we got a double bottom, a bit of a bounce on the NQ, and a double bottom almost to the penny, to the tick. One tick lower on that first bounce, it looks like, our first bottom. And here we sit, waiting for the open in 15 minutes. The purpose of this weekly trade on the Rithmic data powering the investor RT is to see what kind of a situation we have with data consistency and charting consistency. And so far, every day there's been a big lag at the open, which is quite disappointing. Tradovate is powering the Jigsaw Dome, of course, the performance center. And that seems to tick right along. The problem I had before with Tradovate was that their charting would lock up and Jigsaw Dome would be flying. So it's not a problem. It's not a question of the data, I don't believe. My original goal was to be able to power the investor RT from Tradovate, but they don't, you can't do that in the SIM account. Perhaps you can once it's funded and they are executing through CQG, whatever they call it, order routing system or whatever it is, because that there is definitely a connection for investor RT to the CQG order routing system, which is what is used by Tradovate. But on the TopStep Dome, TopStep Combine, or the Pro account, or any of the things which are basically SIM, there's no way to hook the two together. So I've been looking at some different alternatives. And unfortunately, TopStep no longer has a relationship with Sierra Chart, which is also a good program or platform. I believe that Investor RT is a little bit better, a little more professional, a little more solid than Sierra, but so what? Sierra's not available anyway, so that's the end of that. The reason I'm back to Investor RT is there are two options. The possibility of being able to use Tradovate once it's funded, and or there is an Investor RT Rithmic data combine, which I haven't completely ruled out yet. It would at least enable the ability to trade off the charts, the trades. If I enter a trade down here, for example, it doesn't show up on the charting at all. Well, what the hell happened to there? Well, that's no good. We don't want to have, that is certainly not what I had in mind. How in the hell did that work? I entered a buy order way under the market. And now what? What is that? I have no idea what that was or what happened. And nothing is showing. Nothing is showing on Tradovate. Well, that's weird. That's way too weird. Thank God I've got a stream. And it's live. Well, what the Sam Hill was that? Jesus, always some weird shit. Look at this, break-even trade. Two trades, 4 contracts. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard of. Wow. That could be a problem with how I clicked, whether it's a buy stop or a stop or whatever, but there is no way that if I left click way down here below the market as a buy, that it should enter a trade. That is just ridiculous. Oh, I've got to look into that. That's no good at all. It didn't cost me anything other than it shows as a scratch trade. And I don't understand that either. Oh, man. Wow. Well, let's do something else here. Let's look at what happens if we see what kind of a story we got on Tradovate here. Now, there's two trades, big as life. There's the little $1 stupidness, the $5 stupid one that I didn't continue on, and there's this thing over here. Dead scratch for 0 P&L. Wow, that's just entirely too goofy for me. Huh. I'll be real curious to look back at how the hell that happened. That's for sure. That's the kind of thing I don't like, you know? Now, if I screwed that up, okay, I did. If I did, then I did. I have no problem accepting that responsibility. But if I was going to enter just a demo trade down here to demonstrate that the orders don't show up over here and I'm below the market and I enter a buy, there's no frickin' way that should enter a trade. And we try it again. It did it again. So is that acting as a market order? Huh. Well, that is just too left click below the market. Why should that be a market order? Huh. Wow. That's a new one on me. Boys and girls, traders and tradettes. I'll get it up here so I don't have any loss involved, and maybe we'll get lucky and they'll run it up here and pick up a little bit of money on this thing. But Jesus, I don't like that even a little bit. Huh. Pretty strange. And the ES is trying to come up there. If it could get back to this wick, we'll get up here and pick up our $150. So there we go. Well, that's just that's just magical. I've got to say that is really. I thought I knew Jigsaw inside out, and that just surprises the holy hell out of me. Managed it okay. Picked up $165 on the Friday trade, so that's better than a sharp stick in the nose, I guess. But what do we got going on now? So we're 66% win rate with a scratch. Oh, I don't know. Well, anyway, I'm going to call that just getting out by the luck of my pants there, and and I will definitely not be trading anymore. We've got a 6 minutes till the open. Got $1.65 in the bank. It's certainly not because of any skill. But I will say that I didn't panic, and I didn't, I did manage the trade, which is saying something. Not much, but it's saying something. Wow. Pretty amazing. It's pretty darn amazing. I guess I don't know where the hell to even go. It's been so long since I've been on Jigsaw's website. The FAQ page, I update my software and things like that, of course, but I don't remember when I bought Jigsaw. It seems like it was 2015, maybe, like 6 years ago, something like that. So, well, God takes care of fools and drunks, right, or something like that. However that saying goes. I've been stopped out enough times. I've been on the other side of lucky enough times that I guess I deserve this one. And it's not like it's a huge win. It's $160, but just an 8-point move, and I could still be riding it. Hasn't really pulled back, and I could still be riding this thing up. So another instance of letting them ride. What I've been looking at here on the Renko story. First, I've always really preferred to have the Renko wicks. I always felt like that gave me some indication of what's going on here in the trade, right, and in the basic consensus of the market. Not so sure. I've been trying to think both sides of it. For example, here's a 5-point wick, right? 5 points. And this wick is 702, 710. So that's 8 points to the downside and then back up, finishing green. Anyway, so the strategy that I've been kind of kicking around looking at, which it's kind of hard to back test on Renko, is to take the direction of the second brick. So, for example, now you got one here. So here you got one, and then here's the second one. So you go short. Okay. You've got, the problem is you're short from here at 05, and you're tested up to 17. So that's 12 points. That's a pretty wide stop. The theory was take the second brick down and go in that direction. So in this case, in a long trend, it makes, okay, great, wonderful. When you're in a consolidation area, you get your head ripped off, or you widen your stops way out and rethink your risk management and rethink the risk management. So in other words, if you were here and you took this second trade and shorted it, you take about 3 ticks of heat. Is it? Yes, 3 ticks of heat. And then you've basically got a ride all the way down to here. So you got 10, 20, 30, 40 points, assuming you get shaken out with this one, but it doesn't print, okay? So you would effectively be out here where you have a second bar up. So you've got 35 points, $700. I don't know. Maybe I'll put on a, there we go, we're open. I'm busy jabbering, and we've got an open here, and we're trading. We've got a 2-second delay. 3. Pretty much tradable, I think. $9,956.5. I could get these two to kind of marry up so I could see what the trade is like. Well, we're all over 90s here. 87s, 88s, 89s, 3 second or 3 millisecond. I don't know what that is. I got to look into the documentation. It's probably tradable here. Probably tradable here. And we're off to the races down yonder in the corn patch here with the TPO chart. That seems to always run quite well. We do have the volume profile is barely visible, but it's there. Maybe open that up a little bit, can see it, I guess, a little. This is the 5-minute ES. And if you want to be real rugged, here's the ES Renko. Jigsaw Renko. The VWAP doesn't plot for whatever reason. The volume profile isn't plotting. However, it's trading spot on, tick for tick with what's happening over here. So that's good. And if you put a time-based chart on there, you do get some semblance of the VWAP and things like that. But pretty rudimentary, immature, however you want to look at it. So we've got a opening swing high of about 700, and so far swing low of about 85, 83. Looks like we're going to come down a little bit more. I don't think there's any news in the offing. Well, so we're still got that 2-second lag, which is just irritating. I don't know why it's not none. Let's see what's going on with wrong button. See what's going on here. So we're low on the investor RT. We've only, oh, well, look at this. We've got day traders now using the GPU. Never saw that before. Must be the chart. And it's high usage. Huh. Very high usage. I'll be damned. This is this is Chrome, which has got the YouTube streaming streaming, and this is Streamlabs OBS, and this is Tradovate. Well, that's pretty weird. Let's just do something quickly here. That's got to be the chart. Let's just go like this right here. Yep. So there's the chart. And what is it running on the GPU now? Day trader has never done that before, but that's interesting. I wish Investor RT would be utilizing the GPU because that's what I bought the damn thing for. I thought. And I guess now that I have made these conclusions and tests of a week each, once with DT and IQ feed and now with Rithmic, and copied and have the live streams to back it up, I will go out to the Investor RT guys, to Sean Payne in particular, or maybe William Lynn, and see what they have to say about all this. I would love to see, I would think that if this Investor RT would use the GPU, that we would have a much better throughput, because that's what it's for, rather than running on the, even though I have a Ryzen 9 3900X, 12-core, 24-thread CPU. This is a GeForce RTX 2060 Super with 8 gigs of RAM is a GPU unit. So I would think that it would be more advantageous for Investor RT to be running through there. Anyway, so that's what we have, and we're charting okay. We're still got a delay over here on the, or a lag, I should say, in the quote board. We're up $165 on a phantom trade from nowhere that had a scratch. How that worked exactly, I don't know. I don't know. One $5 trade where I was just goofing around pre-market to see what was happening and how, and then a trade here where I tested that same idea out and ended up managing the trade to $150 profit, or 8 ticks. 7.5 ticks. Points, I'm sorry. So our swing now is 674 to 700, 20, 25, 26 point range. Value is way smaller than that. Value is about 15 or less, as it's there's 10. Yeah. And our ES spiked up, and now they're bringing it back down a little bit. Looks like the NQ is going to try to catch the Globex low for that stat. I almost like to take that trade, but I'm a little apprehensive. I've been pretty lucky. Pretty lucky on that last one. I think I might just consider the great trading god smiled on me there and let that one ride. Especially since it's a Friday and I got to get up early. So this will be a short trade. I plan to go no further than the top of the hour with this one. Would like to get, would love to have picked up this one right here, and I would have had the combine out of the way. Now we're at 52,686, so we're still off the high that we've been at on step 2. We were within 300 and change at one point. I think our step 2 high was 52.6 something. and just did not trade. Couldn't read the market properly, and the volatility was way off, and I just didn't trade right, and I was trying to push it going into the Easter weekend, and I managed to push myself right into a $600 loser. As they say, if you want to get out of a hole, the first thing you need to do is stop digging. Or put down the shovel, whichever way you want to look at it. So we are, streaming seems to be okay. That's convenient. Anyway, so looks like we have a bit of a open auction here. Traded it up, traded it down, little consolidation points through the way. This is where you're going to get clobbered. If I would get clobbered if I were trying to do that two tick or second Renko that I was talking about, when you would go the direction of the second bar out. For example, here you would short. Well, okay, so there's 1, 2, short. 1, 2, short. You know, it's just when it gets into a consolidation area, like here, or even here, you're going to get hammered. Now, these are 20 tick blocks size, which is 5 points. Maybe a smaller brick size. I kind of like this one, though. Look at that. There's a perfect example. 2 down, 1 more, and then up she goes. Which reminds me, forgot to look at that, darn it, when I had that open. How is our old friend the VIX looking? And I bet it's terrible. Well, yeah, it's still down to 1700s. It is up a point, so that's a little better, but damn. Want to get this VIX up here in the 30s someplace, high 20s to 30s. That's the kind of volatility we need for good trading, in my view. So that's pretty interesting. The Jigsaw chart is sucking up a lot of bandwidth. Let's see what happens if we start another one. Yeah, I know it's beta and they never seem to get it fixed. NQ M21. Yes. Okay. Let's just leave it the basic candle, I guess. Thought I had this set so that so we'd have cumulative delta and all that, but I guess it doesn't. Every time it does that thing about being a beta chart, it takes a crap. That's really annoying. I had that all set up so that it was supposed to be the default. But anyway, there we are with the Jigsaw chart back up in a 30-minute candle. Well, now it's low, moderate to low. So that's a little surprising, actually. CPU temps are still 40 centigrade, so that's not bad. And the cooler's running on the CPU. And of course, the GPU has 2 cooling fans built in anyway, so that's constant. Well, let's monkey around with this a little bit and see if it's got to do with some of the. Let's see what happens with the cumulative delta. I'm not sure whether this is the one I liked or not, or not. Go sessions, okay. Reset on new session, sure, why not? Apply. All right. What do we got now? Same story, moderate to low. Well, is it struggling with the VWAP? Was that it? That's the only other thing that was here. Yeah, boring. Map colors all goofy. I don't know why it doesn't ever remember what I tell it. Let's see what this looks like here. Okay, go away already. Well, there we go. VWAP is computing pretty much properly. Got the bands going out there. Now what's happening over here in the corn patch? Looks like VWAP is making it think. But still, that's still only moderate. I'd like to have this just hanging around in the background so that if something happens and I have to get out of something in a hurry, or, I don't like flying blind. Being an instrument-rated pilot, I'm a little bit picky about that. Commercial pilot, multi-engine, and instrument-rated. So let's save that. Over here. Still got a delay. But not terrible. I just don't like the way it's not doing this ticking, and that it's not ticking up or down nearly as fast as what I believe it should be. And when it was running DTNIQ feed, it was. Now, whether that's a function of Rithmic, because the way this works is it runs through the Rithmic Trader Pro connection, gateway, whatever. And that's the same, and Jigsaw can do the same thing. So the next story, I guess, would be to connect Jigsaw to the Rithmic feed and see if they're ticking about the same. Previously, when I did that, it didn't work worth a damn. Ideally, it would be that I could get the funded account through CQG and be able to use Investor RT. That would be the cheapest, most direct system. It doesn't have the best data out of CQG. For example, they don't have the whatever that's new thing that CME has put out, where they show the number of trades and the number of trades and the volume at price, whatever that acronym is. Rithmic is the only data feed that I'm aware of that provides that. Volume at price, maybe that's it, or trades at price, I don't know. Anyway, so we'll see how we do here. And we're at 48 minutes past the hour, or here again, that double wrinkle bar would have been a real bad idea. I did notice a lot of people, I use no moving averages or indicators apart from VWAP, 1, 2, 3 standard deviations from VWAP up and down, the volume profile, cumulative delta, and the relative volume. I've noticed that a lot of conversation when I look around at people who are talking about trading with Renko, they're using moving averages to try to stay on the right side of the trade. It seems kind of stupid to me. I mean, it would seem to me like if you can't figure out which way the trade's going, you better go do something else. But maybe not. Maybe I should put one on there and see what it looks like. And there we go on a new high here, right into this consolidation area and this big resistance spot in Globex. Big resistance spot in Globex. And it is basically value area low from the regular trading session of yesterday. So, ES is at VWAP. Are they going to bring it back down or not? That's the next question. So we're 20 minutes into the morning. This lag doesn't seem to want to go anywhere. I can't stop yawning. I apologize. How are we doing on the utilization here? Tradovate is very high. How the hell did that work? Huh. I don't know what they were trying to do there. It was calculating something, I guess. So far, we're doing just fine with day trader and everybody that is on the GPU. So that's kind of good. That's a good thing. And again, that second bar would have been a painful situation right there in this consolidation. But 3 seems useless because by the time there's 3 bars, you're 15 points out and 15 points on the run. You know, that's doesn't make a lot of sense. Especially in this volatility where it's not, you know, a month ago it was running 100 points in a 2 or 3 minute candle. But now it's more like conservative type trading, like it used to be. ES is pushing up through that value, that VWAP, and got a long way to go to the value area high from Globex, however, which is way up here at 98, just over the the POC, volume POC. And we haven't quite been able to stick it back into value here. Into the market profile value, which is this green bracket. The blue bracket is the volume profile, which is also reflected here. So the ES breaks out to the upside above that VWAP, And the NASDAQ is just kind of sitting on its fingers over here. And the overnight stat has not been met yet. I think it's a pretty far cry to imagine they're going to close the gap today. May do. But that's one hell of a gap. So far, I guess. 60 points. And we haven't just getting back into value from regular trading session yesterday. Will they be accepted or will they be rejected out? Looks to me like they were rejected out already. We just touched back into it and have traded back off. That's, I think, of much more importance. Can I do this? Yes, I can. Oh, great. Okay. So here's our value area from yesterday's regular trading session. You can see that we just touched back into it by a tick or so and are being rejected back out of there again. We traded over it several times through blowbacks and then sold off. We had this, what the hell that was all about. Boy, that was the ride to take right there, huh? Look at that one if you got short after 2. Oof. That's what I've got to figure out, how to get on longer runs and get that working. I do think still that the Renko is a little bit better. I'm more suited to watch the Renko price action than even the range bars, which I used to pay attention to. That was the only charting I used on Tradovate because their Renko doesn't have wicks and is real basic. And when you have a situation like this right here with this big wick, this block brick just sits here and you don't know what's going on with price action all up and down through here until it either goes up enough to set another green brick, or in this case, down to set a red brick. But you just sit there and wonder what the heck's going to happen next. That, to me, is a little bit unsettling. Perhaps it's that I'm looking at too close of a time frame, or I need to widen out but I'm only trading a 1 lot. And so I need to be pretty darn careful with my risk management there. I could be trading a 5 lot. If I were trading a 5 lot on that 8 tick thing, I'd be in bed all happy that I've already cleared the step 2. $3,500 on a 5 lot. That one trade. Each point is $20, so per contract. So 8 contracts is 80 times 20 is 160 for a 1 lot times 5. Now what to do, and I tell you what happened. Something that happens with this, it doesn't automatically go back to the, that's pretty darn frustrating. It doesn't automatically go back to the current bar. And here we are at the VWAP and balance. Will it pull back from there? Was that the spot for a resting trade? Likely. Likely that it was. What's the ES doing? However, ES is continuing to rock. But that resting trade would have just made $10 or pretty close to 10 points, 8 points. It would have been the target anyway. Would it? 8? No, not quite. Got to get down to the 20 here. Here we are at 28, so we need to get down to 20 flat for the 8 points. Haven't gotten down there yet. Doesn't look like too far away, though. One ticked, one ticked, one ticked. And there we go, traded through 20. But traded through the 8 points. That resting order would have been an 8 point or a full target trade to the downside. All right, that's the top of the hour. I've got to get up way too early in the morning again. And I am going to call this a stream. Remember, trade for tomorrow. Your sole goal as a trader is to be able to trade tomorrow. Trade safe, trade smart, be patient, trade what you see, not what you think. And I look forward to talking to the stream again on next Monday, which is Sunday night open, Central Standard Time. It is now 2200 in Southeast Asia and 900, I guess, in Central Standard Time. So trade safe and trade for tomorrow.